I think we need an upgrade.
I think it's time.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, folks? This is Pete, and welcome back to another episode of Underdog Garage. As you can see in those first clips, our Mazda Miata's trunk deck is not staying open. The torsion springs that hold the trunk deck open are not providing enough support. They're worn out, and every time you let go of the trunk, it just comes right back down. Normally, this wouldn't be a big deal, but I don't want to be in a situation where I accidentally lock my keys in the trunk, or I am trying to put something in there and it falls on my head. So I was trying to find a way to fix this, and I came across a trunk lid lift kit from Moss Miata. Basically, it looked like it works off of a gas strut rather than torsion springs. I've ordered stuff from Moss Miata in the past and I've had good experiences, so I figured I'd give it a shot and see how it goes. So we're basically going to be installing that kit into the Miata in this video today. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get into this install for the trunk lid lift kit. First, we set up a bungee cord hung from the garage opener to hold the Miata's trunk lid open. Then we started removing the trunk carpet, storage, and rear trim. Next, we removed the metal panel in the rear that covers the fuel filler neck. Once that was removed, we could access the trunk hinge area for installation. With the metal panel out, we started removing the two 10mm bolts to the right of the trunk hinge. These would be the mounting points for the new trunk lift kit bracket. With everything clear, it was time to start assembling the kit. We secured one side of the strut with the longer ball joint stud to the metal bracket along with the plastic spacer to separate it from the bracket and tighten the hardware. Now it was time to remove the torsion springs. These are the original rods that hold up our Miata's trunk lid. Using a screwdriver, we carefully pried each spring out of the notch on each side that keeps them secure, being extra careful to slowly release tension so they wouldn't go flying out. With the torsion springs out, our original bungee cord couldn't support the weight of the trunk lid, so we had to add a second one for more support. Now we could start installing the bracket. First, we secured the bracket with the bracket spacer and the now open bolt holes in the back of the trunk, slipping it up and over the fuel filler neck. When the torsion springs were removed, there was a hook mounted to the side of the trunk lid hinge. Based on the kit instructions, aligning the hook to the hinge allowed us to mark the center of the hinge for drilling using an orange paint pen. Once the center was marked, a couple punches with the tap and we were ready for drilling. First, we drilled into the hinge using a 1/8 inch drill bit. Then we enlarged the hole in the trunk with a 5/16 inch bit. After a quick vacuum to remove the metal shavings, we were ready to install the other side of the trunk lift strut. Lowering the trunk lid slightly, we installed the ball stud into the newly drilled hole, and then we began tightening the lock washer and nut on the opposite side of the trunk hinge. I used one finger to apply pressure to the nut while tightening down on the ball stud. To tighten it down with limited access due to the hinge flange, I found it easiest to get the open end wrench parallel to the ball stud and lock onto the nut from that position. Then I tightened using another open end wrench on the ball stud itself. With the lift kit finally in place, we tested to see how it performed, and it worked great. The trunk came up smoothly all on its own. last step was to put everything back together, installing the rear metal panel covering the fuel filler, the trunk trim pieces, the carpeting, and storage. With all that done, our Miata trunk lid was now rising on its own. All right, sweet. We've got our trunk lid kit now installed. It is working great. Now I don't have to hold up the trunk deck anymore. Just testing it a couple times, everything came up really smoothly. The gas strut came up really smoothly. It wasn't hitching or binding or anything as it came up. So yeah, I'm super happy with how it turned out. The one thing I really liked about it is that it's very discreet, like it sits back behind the trim. If you weren't really looking for it, it just kind of blends in, especially the black on black. That's kind of why I went with the satin black version. One tip I would mention if you're deciding to try this kit out, whenever you open the trunk lid, the lights turn on. So rather than disconnecting the battery and potentially losing radio presets and things like that, I actually pulled the rear trunk trim out just a little bit, just disconnected it on the left side, and was able to get in and disconnect the license plate light connector so that I didn't have to disconnect the battery, but I wasn't draining the battery with the license plate lights running the entire time I was working. But other than that, I think it came out great. Our trunk is rising on its own now. I don't have to worry about it clocking me in the head. So I am super stoked. That's going to be it for this episode, folks. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you've got it. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future episodes we've got going on this project and other projects at Underdog Garage. So thanks again, folks, so much for watching. Have fun, and we will see you next time.